Hey everyone, I'm a software engineer. I've been working professionally in the industry for the last 8 years doing full stack development. So that means working on websites, the front ends for websites and back end servers, and using AWS for infrastructure. That didn't make any sense. I'm a full stack developer. I work across the stack. I do a lot of different things. But I've found over the years, my passion is for building UI, building product features. And that's why I've been gravitating a lot towards, in my free time, working on game development, which is why I'm streaming right now. I've been documenting my game development learning journey using the Godot open source game engine. So I've built myself a playground, a playground that allows me to test different features, different things I might want to add to a game in the future. And I've been streaming all of that progress and really been enjoying it. A lot of people have joined recently, which has been great to see. Got a lot of good feedback and positive messages. And on my last stream, which was yesterday, I was trying to update the save system that I've built in my game and bring it up to date with everything else that I've done recently. I've added features around inventory, weapons, some different player features. And I wanted to add all of those things to the save system. So I spent a lot of time yesterday in my stream working on this, debugging for the last hour, trying to figure out why something wasn't working. And so what I've basically come to realize is that I can't store the actual nodes that I'm dealing with in Godot in the config files. I need to store the base metadata that those nodes have, and then recreate those nodes on game load, which is a little disappointing. I was hoping I'd be able to just kind of one and done it, save the node itself, and then recreate it from there. But I haven't been able to figure out a way, so I'm just going to have to do it manually, which, it's not too many lines of code, but it's definitely more than I was hoping to need to do. Now, having said that, I also need to come up with an item log that basically where every item has a different ID. So I'm doing that currently, but I don't have a way to say like ID X corresponds with item Y. And so I need to probably build that out, which shouldn't be particularly difficult, but it does just add another layer of things to do as I'm building out the save system here. But as I try to do in every stream, and I can't at this stream because I've broken some stuff, I try to do a demo, but I will try to get a working version of this as quickly as possible so I can do a demo, just show off what I've built in the playground so far, and then we'll go from there. So yesterday we were working on player saving as well as inventory saving, because inventory is a construct on a player character, whether that's a human playable character or a NPC, non-playable character. And right now there's only the human playable character as well as zombies moving around. So they both have inventories. They both work the same way. I've made a generic inventory that can apply to any character. And so with this save system, we should be able to save any type of inventory to a specific config file. In the case of the player, we'll have a player-specific config file, and then in the case of zombies, we will have a different config file per zombie. I might change that in the future, but for the moment, it's probably going to be most straightforward to do that, because then I can actually, no, because there's a lot of information I want to store on a particular NPC, so I probably want to have a separate save file. Anyway, we'll get into the implementation details of that in a little bit, but let's get this working. So I'm going to save inventory. I pass in an inventory. I iterate through the items in that inventory, and then I'm storing the amount and then the item itself. Most of the properties on an item are static, in that for item X, it'll always have the same properties. So item.getItem here is actually returning the entire node. What I really want to be doing is storing the item ID. So I need to say getItem.getItem ID. And that way we'll be able to recreate this stackable inventory item, which basically consists of an amount and then also the item itself. So we'll be able to recreate this with just this set of information. So if we save that, that should be good. But as I was alluding to before, we don't have a way to say, okay, what is item ID for example, which I'll need to handle here when I'm actually populating an inventory from a save file. I'll need to be able to say, okay, we have item 4, create item 4, and assign that to the inventory in a particular slot. And I'm not 100% sure how this should work in Godot. There might be a way to say, let me code out what I'm looking for here. So if we come into, we don't have a folder for items, so let's create a new folder called items. And then from here, we'll create a script called let's just say items list. If we open this up, essentially what I'm thinking of is having like items equal and then an array, and say like, you know, for ID 1, we'll call it, what do I actually have as item? I don't think I have anything assigned to item 1, but if I did like item 1 is rifle, can I access like items.get 1 if it's not null, then say like .new? I don't know if that is reasonable. If it did, I don't know if this exists. Unexpected identifier in class body. Anyway, so let's just go ahead and get all of our items in here. We'll definitely be changing around the IDs for all of these. I think rifle right now is 4, sword might be 5. 1, let's do these as strings actually, because I don't know how Godot handles integers as keys. We have a foo item, which actually, honestly, we probably just can get rid of that for now. So if we open up sword, let's call this ID 1. Or rifle, if we go to sword, we'll say ID 2. So these are kind of the 2 items. Oh, right. And then there's 3 can be rifle ammo. Oh, that was also 4, which overlapped. Okay, so let's add a getter for this, which should just be relatively straightforward here. Return items. And we can say get item by ID, pass an ID, just a string. So return, let's actually return the item itself. So we'll say, first of all, we'll, by default, return null at the end of the function. So we'll say, if ID is an empty string, we want to return null. Item, let's say actually, item class equals self.items.get ID if item class is null, return null. Otherwise, return item class dot new. Now this is my question. Does this work? I'm not sure, but there's only one way to find out, and that's by testing. So in inventory save, if we come into this, so we get the item. If item does not equal null and item.item ID, actually we need to do item dot, yeah, I think item.get item ID. I believe this should work. Does not equal null. Then we will no, sorry. Assert that item does not equal null. Item.get item ID does not equal null. Inventory items must exist. Then we say say saved item info, saved item info does not equal null, and saved item info.get item ID. So then we need access to items list, so we can say class name items list. We can actually create a instance of items list equals items list dot new. Item equals items list dot get item by ID. We will pass in saved item info dot get item ID. If item, actually we want to assert that item does not equal null. Item from items list should not be null. And then we will add that to our inventory. Oh, actually, hold on. Base item. If base item does not equal null, then we will get, we also need to get the amount for this item. So base amount equals item saved item info dot get amount. We will also assert that base amount does not equal null. Base amount cannot equal null. And we need to create a stackable inventory item. So we'll say item, which is of type stackable inventory item, equals stackable inventory item dot new. I think we need to pass in the amount and the item, if I'm not mistaken. That's right. So we pass in base item and base amount. And then we can add that item to the slot. Okay, so let's, I lost or I was able to find where this was yesterday. So I need to get the... Actually, I think it should be here. Yeah. Okay, so we have saves. We can delete any saves that we currently have because we don't want to use those. Start a new game. Let's move some stuff around. Let's hit save. We exit. If we continue, we get an error. Invalid type and function get item by ID and base node items list cannot convert argument 1 from int to string. Okay, so get item by ID is a integer. So in that case, I guess we should just say ID is an int. Is less than or equal to 1, return null. Actually, let's assert that ID is greater than or equal to 1 when getting item from items list. ID must be greater than 0. Okay, and let's update these two integers. Perfect. Okay, so now we need to delete this save file again. And try again. So let's move some stuff around. Whoops, I didn't save. That's fine. Oh, okay, so we got some duplicate stuff going on. Okay, we'll fix that, but dropping actually does work. So let's go ahead and just drop all of those and hit save, and we'll exit. Boot up again. Okay, non-existent function get weapon ammo amount and base character body 2D. So we are attempting to... Okay, so in the UI, we are calling a function that no longer exists. I think I removed this at some point. Okay, so if weapon does not equal null, get weapon ammo amount. I think I have a different function for this. Go to weapon inventory. We should just be able to get available ammo count from the weapon inventory. So if we have the player, it should be straightforward to do. So we say player dot weapon inventory dot get available ammo count. So that should fix that issue. Okay, can't get weapon inventory on player because it's inventory dot weapon inventory. All right, so we've duplicated our inventory a bunch here, which certainly don't want to have happen. And that's actually because in player, we are just hard coding stuff. So now that we, let's see. We basically, so when we're starting a new game, idea is that you might not have any weapons or anything. And so just for debugging purposes, we were adding stuff to the player's inventory to be able to just do some testing. Now that we have saves for player inventory, we don't necessarily need it, but we do need a way for us to get an initial item. We could theoretically spawn a dead zombie nearby, or we could say, I mean, if we had a way to determine if this was a new game or not, we could only do this sometimes. So maybe the easiest way is to just always add a dead zombie. I don't really want to do that. Okay, let's just figure out if we can tell the difference between a new game and not. So how do we do that? We have save manager, and there's got to be something about load game metadata. I just need to find the initial so when we, let's see, it's in pause, or no, main menu. So let's say we go to a new game. Okay, change scene to file chunk testing. All right, so okay, so if we actually, we should probably look at the so on continue or load game. So on continue, what do we inject here? So with game manager, we set playthrough ID. So where does this get called from? Load menu and main menu? Only if you're loading a game, it looks like. Okay, so here we can say, oh, who connects to this? Emit update playthrough ID. I don't know, but we can have a is new game Boolean. Let's just set it to true by default. If we set the playthrough ID, then we can say is new game equals false. So in player, we should be able to say if game manager dot is new game, then we can add all these things to the inventory, otherwise don't. Let's actually add getter and a setter here just for consistency. Is is new game equals ing. Okay. All right, so let's start up a new game here. I mean, let's continue a game and see. Okay, we got a bunch of extra stuff here. Let's just delete all this. We want a little bit of rifle ammo. Okay, let's save, exit, start it up again, continue. No, okay, so that doesn't seem to be working. We've got zombies everywhere. Goodness, so many. Maybe I'm doing this backwards. This new game. So print setting playthrough ID. Got a bunch of zombies here. At least their positions were saved, as was the player position, so we know we're doing that save properly. Let's see. We should, okay, setting playthrough ID, so it should be false. So in player, why is that not? Adding debug inventory items. Okay. So we really shouldn't see that display when we hit continue here. Setting playthrough ID. Okay, we don't actually. So it seems like maybe there's an issue with the inventory. Okay, let's go ahead and start a new game and just so we got this. Let's move these things around. Save and exit. Let's continue the most recent. Okay, it still duplicates, but let's go into the editor, setting playthrough ID. Let's look for debug. Okay, so we must be inserting these items, either inserting these items elsewhere, or there's an issue with the saving. So let's go to the actual, I don't know which one it is. It's this one. It should be. Let's open it with VS Code. Okay, so we have everything in the right sections, but these three shouldn't be there. So let's try dropping these. And theoretically, when we hit save here, we should be able to go back to this file and not see it. No, they are still there. Okay, what happens if we move these items to the end? And hit save. Okay, so there's always... All right, what if I drop 13, 14, 15 then? Oh, it's always, it's not deleting, it's not overwriting. That's our issue. I think that's because we're... So we should be... All right, this makes sense. In inventory save, as we're going to save, in the config file, we should be removing the inventory section and weapon inventory section, those two sections, because we want them to be completely overridden. So clear sections or overwrite. We'll pass in a config file. And it returns a config file. And we'll say config file dot clear. Is it clear? Let's look at the documentation for this. I don't want to clear everything. Erase section. So let's erase section. Inventory section. Do the same with the weapon inventory section. And then return config file. So this should be an internal function. I'll say config file equals self dot clear sections for overwrite. Pass in the config file. Great. So this should resolve our issue here. Go back into the game. We can continue. We have these things. Let's drop them. Let's put one thing in the weapon inventory. Let's hit save, exit, try again. And there we go. It works as expected. Although that was interesting. The zombies, something weird about the zombies there, but that's okay. We will maybe deal with that in a little bit. We can come in, and I think if we do this and try to save, we're going to have an error when we load, so I'm not going to do that now. I should actually delete those from the debug of a dead zombie, because we're just adding random items that don't exist somewhere. Oh, no, we're actually doing that in zombie. Okay, so we've added some items. So we'll want to do some generic stuff. Actually, we can just say every zombie is going to have ammo. We'll just do like 10 for now. So that's not unreasonable. So if we boot things up again, continue, we are out of ammo, and we have our sword though, so we can still defend ourselves. There seems to be a bug with the visualization of zombies right now. I don't know why it's doing that, because it's been pretty stable so far, so I don't know what changed. Whoops. Game crashed because I'm not handling end state well, or death state specifically. Hey Fake, how's it going? I forgot to start the timer again. All right, let's add half an hour onto it real quick. How many minutes is that? 3,000? No, 1,800. 96.3. Yeah, that's good enough. How's it going, Fake? All right, so we have the player inventory working properly here. With saving, let's not update that at all. Cool, so we have inventory saving properly for the player. Loading inventory save, there must be a section for the inventory. Okay, so we do have a way to differentiate between a new save and an old save. So we're using populate inventory when we are creating the user. So actually in player, populate player. So we should be able to say if, let's populate inventory. If game manager dot is, if not game manager dot is new game, then we want to make these assertions. So if we're not starting a new game, we want to assert that there are certain sections in our inventory save files. And that should be good. Now let's go back to player save. Okay, if, again, we're gonna kind of do a similar thing here. If not game manager dot is new game, we want to set the global position of the player to what's in the config file. We also want to assert that config file dot get value player section player position does not equal null. Player position should not be null from the save file. And we don't need to set a default. We should set a default, but it should never use that default theoretically. All right, so we're saving the player position, the player's inventory. Currently there's no game state we need to store for a player outside of this. So I think that's everything for the player. Oops. Now we need to save more information about zombies. So we want to save their inventory as well. So when we're creating the inventory, we had just added this bit for testing, but we don't really want to do that outside of when. So if game manager dot is new game, then we can do this debug. And eventually here we'll add like some randomness to this, so different items, you know, potentially spawn on zombies. But for now it's just a single item, which is rifle ammo, because that's the only consumable at the moment. So we don't need to remove this later. We just want to randomize items that a zombie can spawn with. So that's fine. Now we need to save the zombie's inventory and load it in, much like we do for the player. Where are we saving all this zombie info? I think it's in chunk manager possibly. So we save chunks, and we're currently saving Hey Kubi, how's it going? So we're currently saving zombie positions to chunks, which is fine because those are the only zombies that we want to load as a chunk loads. But we do want to save zombie information separately per zombie so that we can Actually, we could have a single. This might be weird. We could have a single zombie save file where you access the zombie information by the zombie's ID, but I don't love that. I guess we could nest. Well, it starts to get pretty... It starts to get pretty gross. I'm just thinking about the nesting of saves with zombies. I do think we want to have a separate save file for zombie metadata, even if we're storing the ID and the position of the zombie on the chunk. Okay. So handle zombie chunk position. So get zombies from the chunk. Chunk, okay. Chunk. Here we go. Handle saving chunk. So we get the zombie data. We save the ID of the zombie and the zombie's global position. What we also need to then do is to do save all zombie info. So this isn't optimal because we're going to be looping through this twice, which we don't need to do. For each zombie, we're going to say config file equals config file.new. We'll say actually zombie config equals config file.new. We need to save the zombies inventory. So zombie should be of type zombie. So let's just first assert that zombie is zombie. Otherwise, zombie must be a zombie. We can also do this up here. Then we'll use the... Okay, so we have player save, but now we need zombie save. Which actually, I'm realizing... Can we just reuse this? I think we can reuse this. So we're gonna have to fix some stuff, but I think this can just be a generic character saving class. Because then we can use it for both players and zombies, and we just pass in a different well, actually, hold on. Now we might want to keep NPCs and player different. So let's leave that as is, but within got save system here, we'll create a new file called zombie save. I only speak English. I don't speak German. Are you German? Geometry? Okay, so let's open up the zombie save. It's going to be almost identical to player save. So let's just copy everything to start. Except we'll call it NPC save. So, and by NPC, I mean character save. No, NPC save is fine. Let's say NPC section. we have NPC position. We will save NPC. And for now, we'll just call it zombie. We'll say NPC save functionality to do update zombie class to inherit a soon to exist NPC class. So eventually we'll want a zombie to inherit the attributes of an NPC. So say if, and I'll actually do NPC. I just don't want to go through and do that right now. So if NPC does not equal null and NPC is zombie, zombie is null, or NPC is null, or isn't of NPC type. We will say npc.inventory with the config file, npc section, npc position, npc global position. Okay, and we'll populate npc, which returns a, for now, zombie, which we will also update later. So zombie.new. If it's a new game, I don't know if I need to handle this now, but I'll just do it for the moment. NPC position should not be null. So npc.global position, npc section, npc position, and npc inventory, and then return npc. Okay, so in chunk, let's open that back up. So here we'll say npc save. Just type npc save equals npc save.new. So we'll want to yeah, that should be fine. So we have our zombie config. We'll say npc save of zombie, and we'll pass in zombie config. Config equals, oops. Sorry, npc save dot save npc. So that should be fine. And then we'll want to save that so we'll need to do save. So we'll need to get the save path for this, which I suppose that can actually be stored in here. So get npc save path. So we're gonna have to do some stuff elsewhere. So one sec, let's see how this is done. It's gonna be similar to this. Did I really call this zombie save? I meant to name this npc save. So actually, don't save that. Let's open up npc save. Come down here. NPC save path, and we'll pass in the ID of the NPC, and then we'll return a string. So we'll get the generic save path from the save manager. We'll say it's going to be NPCs. It'll be id.config. So theoretically, we have enough randomness in our ID generation that we shouldn't have overlapping IDs. If we do, we can extend, make the UUIDs longer. I think we're truncating it to 8 characters, but that should be enough variation for now. I don't think we need to do any further delineation on NPCs. So basically, when we're loading in NPCs, we should be able to just grab them from their save file here based on the ID. So in chunk, we will say NPC save path equals NPC save dot get. What did I call it? Get NPC save path. Really? Oh, it should be NPC save dot get NPC save path, and we'll pass in zombie.id. What am I calling it? Zombie ID, I think is what I've called it. And then we actually want to save the config file with config file.save NPC save path. I think that should work. Now in Save Manager, we also need to create save paths here. Although I'm realizing that maybe it does it all for me. So maybe I actually don't need to do that. It only needs to create the base one, really? I could have sworn. Let's actually go into, is there save related? Okay, create. Oh, okay, no, we're doing it in the chunk manager. So where's this getting called? Oh no, we are, okay, so in create save paths, no, we are doing chunk manager dot create save chunks path. We also need to say, I mean, really that shouldn't be done in the chunk manager, I suppose. We should do something like self dot create NPC save path. I guess pass in save path because that's the pattern we're using for the moment, but so we'll say create NPC save path. Return void. And how are we doing this? Okay, so it's really just this basically. So, oh no, we should just do this in here. I'm realizing. Okay, so dir access dot make dir recursive absolute save path NPC save. So it's just save path plus NPCs, I think. Should be good enough. Plus NPC slash NPCs. Get playthrough save. That doesn't add a slash, so I think we do need to do slash NPCs. Okay, so I think that should handle that just fine. Which will allow us to save the zombie information. Let's go back to chunk, make sure this looks okay. Okay, so we're saving all of that information, but we need to load these zombies as well. So rather than instantiating a new zombie instance, or actually we still need to do this, I suppose. We need to say, we need to load the inventory from, okay, hold on. NPC save, we have populate NPC, which returns a zombie. So we actually just want to, okay, why is this all open? Okay, so we need to fetch the correct config file, which is, we'll say npc save equals npc save dot new. Zombie config equals config file dot new. If let's actually assert that, so theoretically this should exist. So zombie config dot load npc save dot get save npc save path with the zombie's ID, which is zombie dot get ID. Let's update these as well. Get global position. We need slightly better checking here. So let's actually assert that zombie.get ID does not equal null. Zombie saved zombie must have an ID. And we'll also assert that when we fetch global position, save zombie must have a global position. So then we can set those. Does this have too many? What's going on here? Okay. So the config should be loaded. So we can say saved zombie equals npc save dot populate npc. I think we should just be able to pass in zombie config there, right? That's all it takes, just to make sure. This is really just grabbing the position in the inventory. We don't care about the position because we're saving that with the chunk. So then we can say zombie Hold on, I'm checking. I should be handling assertions in here, which I do. So if we go back to chunk, zombie instance equals, zombie instance dot inventory equals saved zombie dot inventory. And we should be able to add the zombie instance. So I think that theoretically should work. I'm going to put my desk down. Welcome back. All right, I'm gonna sit in my chair now because back was starting to hurt. All right. So I think we might actually be in a testable spot. We need to go ahead and delete both of these save files though, because that's not going to work with the way zombies are currently saved. So let's give it a go. Hit save, and we should see a bunch of NPCs here. Let's open one of these up. We should get, why do we have multiple of them stored here? That doesn't make sense. These aren't supposed to be chunks, but it looks like they're chunks. So what's going on here? Okay, so that's loading. So let's go back to saving. So NPC save. Okay, so we've got zombie data. Oh, are we saving zombie data somewhere? No. Wait, hold on. Zombie data dot append config file. Ah. Okay, so I did config file dot save when I should be doing zombie config dot save. That's why we're seeing chunk data in the NPCs. Let's go ahead and move this to trash. Start new game, hit save, exit, boot it back up. Continue. Okay, when loading inventory from save, there must be a section for the weapon inventory. All right, that's probably to do with zombies. We'll check that in a sec, but let's look to see if the NPCs are saved properly here. This should be an individual zombie. Okay, it's saying that there's rifle ammo in slot 0, and it's saving the NPC's position, which is great. Okay, I think that's exactly what we're looking for. But now we're having an issue when we're loading the zombies back in. There's nothing about a weapon inventory section. Oh. That's weird. Okay, let's go into NPC save. Inventory, save inventory. Config file.setValue, which should be theoretically creating that, but I do see here that there is no weapon inventory section. We've got inventory section, but not weapon inventory section. Is that because equipped weapon and equipped ammo are null? But we're not running to that issue with the player, are we? Or is this the player, actually? Oh no, this is the player. Maybe because these are null. dot has section. Is there a way to just create a section? So you can set a set value. So why isn't that setting? These aren't working. So set value assigns a value to the specified key of the specified section. If either the section or the key do not exist, they are created. Passing a null value deletes the specified key if it exists and deletes the section if it ends up empty once the key has been removed. Interesting. Okay, so we can't actually assert that these exist. Okay, so that means we basically just need to say if config file dot has section inventory section, we only do all of this if that's true. Otherwise, we only do all of this if there's a weapon inventory section, which is fine because otherwise we'll just instantiate everything with null values, which is totally good. Okay, so I think this should be okay now for both the player and the NPCs. So let's trash that. Let's pick the game back up. Let's close these and restart. Start a new game. Whoops. It's helpful when a zombie spawns on top of you. So let's not use this save anymore. I should have some logic that doesn't allow zombies to be spawned right on top of the user, but that's for another day. Let's start a new game. Okay, let's move some stuff around. Let's hit save, exit. If we start things back up, let's just check this real quick. NPCs. Those should all be as expected. Continue. Okay, assertion failed. Which assertion? So we're trying to load. Does it tell us what the ID is? No, because I don't have a. Okay, let's add an assertion here. Line 31 of chunk. We want to say zombie config file should exist for loaded zombie with ID plus ID. Sorry, with plus zombie.get ID. Okay, so now we'll be able to see what the zombie's ID is that's failing. We continue, same thing. 8BDE 7894. Can we do this alphabetically? 8DBE 7894. That exists. 8. Oh no. Yeah, BDE 7894. So that exists. So we're we want to say that it equals okay. So that should equal okay. Maybe that's the issue. Could be loading prop. Oops. Hold on. Wait. Close that, restart. Ah, okay, that worked. Great. So let's actually add debug collision shapes. So if we continue, we can see that there are zombies kind of placed everywhere. This one's chasing us now. So if we were to save and exit, we should, when we continue the game, there should be a zombie in the exact same spot, and there is. They do seem to be in the exact same spot that we were expecting, which you love to see. All our inventory is exactly as we're expecting to. Now, the last thing we need to do here, I think this is all we have to do, is start storing dead zombie info. So when we kill a zombie like we have just done twice now, if we save and exit and we boot the game back up, these objects will have disappeared. So we do need a way to load in a dead zombie, which for all intents and purposes is a NPC as well, which has its own inventory. So we should be able to relatively easily store this information. Now, what I'm realizing is that it would be much nicer to not have a separate construct for a dead zombie, and to instead have all of this information just be stored within zombie and have a flag that says whether it's alive or not, and then change the sprite, as well as turn off all the like swap which children are working, if that makes sense. Hey Parshva, how's it going? Am I feeling tired? Yeah, I'm a little tired right now. Just had a long last several days, but oh, are you asking that because it looks like I've been streaming for 27 hours? No, I haven't been streaming for 27 hours. I started this timer maybe like 2 weeks ago as I've been streaming. So over the last maybe 14-ish streams, I've been incrementing the timer. But no, I've only been online for like an hour and 15 minutes, but I am tired outside of that. Okay. We need to rethink how this works. Yeah, you realize that too late. It's all good. It's all good. I actually, I suppose we can store a piece of information in the... No, but we're not keeping track. Oh, hold on. In Chunk, we're like deleting the zombie when it's dead, which I'm realizing isn't. So we got populate zombies, add zombie, remove zombie. So where are we calling this? We're definitely calling this from somewhere. Maybe chunk manager, remove zombie. Where are we calling this from? Oops. So handle zombie chunk position. And okay, zombie killed. So I actually don't know that we want to remove the zombie in this case. Okay, where is this being called from? The zombie itself. Okay, so we're initializing a dead zombie with the inventory. We're setting its global position. We're adding it to as a child. We're queuing free. So really, let's open up the zombie scene. And also the dead zombie scene. So dead zombie is very simple. It just has an inventory area. And if we look at the dead zombie code here, it's also just related to the pickup area and inventory. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is oh, it's literally just a sprite too. So I wonder if we can actually even spawn a dead zombie. So instead of adding it as a root of the, maybe we can do this. Instead of adding it as a child of the root, let's just add it as a child. Let's say self.addChild. We don't want to queue free ourself. We are kind of duplicating the inventory here, but that's maybe an optimization we can make later. Hey Bill, how's it going? Okay, so we're just gonna add the dead zombie as a child of the zombie itself. Let's add a new variable on the zombie called is alive, and that'll default to true. So we will set when a zombie is killed, we'll say self dot is alive equals false. We don't want to remove the killed zombie from the chunk because we want it to live on so we can save it properly. Let's see, what is this? Okay, that's fine. We don't need to update that. I don't know what connects to this zombie killed signal. Hey, hello. So for the last like almost 4 weeks now, I've been streaming my game dev learning journey, and I've built myself a little playground that allows me to build out different features just to test and see how to implement them if I ever went about making my own game. So I'm just like learning about Godot, which is an open source game engine, and building out some game features that I could want to add in a game later. It's very simple right now. I'll show a demo of it in just a few minutes. I'm getting something fixed here, but it's a top-down 2D kind of open world game right now. I've built like a chunking system that allows you to basically, freely move around. But right now, the only thing you can do is shoot zombies and walk around and pick up items from their inventory. But this stream I've been working on the save system. I added a bunch of features and didn't add them to the save system, so I'm going back and doing that now. And then I've been working on that. Hey, Godot is an open source game engine. So it's similar to like Unity or Unreal, if you've heard of those. And you can build games with it, both 2D games and 3D games. It's just an engine to do all kinds of stuff. If you've heard of the game Brotato, that was made in Godot. Dome Keeper was also made in Godot. There have been a bunch of like very popular games that have recently been released in Godot, but it's a good like indie game developer game engine because you don't have to pay royalties or anything to anyone else. I'm realizing I do have to hop off in just a few minutes, so let me see if I can get this finished real quick and show a little demo. Actually, I might even just be able to show a demo while I'm here. Okay, this loads. So I have debug values on, so you wouldn't normally see these shapes here. But the premise is top-down view. The only time you can see a zombie is when your flashlight is turned on, which you can do just by pressing F. Some different UI indicators right now for certain things because you can't there's no sound. So I just wanted there to be, whoa. I've broken some stuff. Look at that. That's hilarious. Yeah, I was just changing some zombie logic. So you can see like dead zombies floating around back there, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I've built a save system. Like I said, built a chunking system. So as you move left and right, you can load it, new chunks and new zombies spawn and whatnot. Everything looks super funny because of the change I just made. But yeah, and an inventory system. When you kill a zombie, I don't think I can actually hover over any right now. Maybe I can. Oh yeah, you can pull up a dual inventory menu so you can drag and drop and stack items and everything. But yeah, that's kind of everything I've built so far. Yeah, it's been fun. But I do have to run. I have a doctor's appointment. Came up faster than I was expecting, but I will be on again tomorrow. So if you want to see me, I'll be on again then. I try to stream every day. Friday, Saturday will probably be harder to stream, but outside of that, try to stream at least an hour or two every day. So thanks everyone for hopping on. It was fun, and